Hey, and welcome to the highlights of episode number 111 with Grace Smith. Now, some of my favorite parts of this episode were when Grace takes us through her powerful stress-busting hypnosis. This was awesome, and I really, truly felt the benefits. I also loved it when she shared her hypnosis success stories and how we can add this to our everyday life. But there is so much more wisdom and inspiration that you get in the full episode. So, to listen to the full podcast and get all the info in the show notes, head on over to melissaambrosini.com/117 right now. Grace, it is so great to have you on the show. Can you tell us a bit about your story and how you got to where you are today and how you got into hypnosis?
First things first, I never in a million years, ever in a million years, would have thought that this would be my career. I mean, I did not grow up as a little girl thinking to myself, I can't wait to be a hypnotist one day. I just thought it was the most bizarre thing, the clucking chickens, the swinging watches, the crazy stage show they bring to the high schools in the States during prom so that you don't drink and drive. I mean, I don't know how it is in Australia, if you guys have that over there, but here it's always been a joke. That's the way I viewed it. And then later on in life, I graduated from college in 2018, the peak of the recession over here. And I got a job in fundraising at the largest fundraising firm in the world. And our quotas were something like $350 million that each of us were responsible for raising. It was really intense. And because everybody was losing their jobs, losing their pensions, terrified about their financial futures, it was not an easy time to be in fundraising. It was not an easy time to have your hand out. And every single day, we'd have to get together with our bosses in corporate and share with them our numbers. And across the board, we were usually coming up short because they had made the projections before the recession started. So what happened was I realized I had no healthy coping mechanisms for stress, like none whatsoever. And when I think about my life back then, who I was compared to who I am today, it's so shockingly different. So someone mentioned to me that their mother had been able to quit smoking with the use of hypnosis. And if they had said this to me 8 months prior, before I had gone through this really difficult time in my life of getting sober, I would have said, absolutely not. What is this joke? Like, this isn't going to work for me. I'm type A, yada, yada, yada. I can't relax. And I think because I'd been so humbled by how difficult of an experience I'd just been through, I said, you know what? Let me give it a try. So I went to the hypnotherapist's office, arms crossed over my chest, thinking to myself, there's no way this is going to work. And I never smoked again after one session. What hypnosis is, very, very simply, I call it meditation with a goal. That's what it feels like. It feels like meditation. And the reason why it works is because when we're so wonderfully, deeply relaxed, feeling perfectly safe, we become open to the suggestions that we want to absorb. So we can get into why it's not mind control and all of that, even though that's how Hollywood portrays it. But basically, when you're relaxed and feeling safe, you can change your subconscious. But when you're stressed out and going full speed, you can't. It's nearly impossible. And in order to change our habits, our beliefs, our emotional responses, we have to meet them where they live, and that's in the subconscious. Any habit lives in your subconscious. So if the habit is running, you want to run faster, you want to run more frequently, you want to start a running habit, you want to run differently, that you can use for hypnosis. If the habit is biting your nails, if the habit is being afraid of flying, if the habit is needing to be a dynamic public speaker, then you can use hypnosis for it. If it's a belief, if it's I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not strong enough, I can't do this on my own, that lives in the subconscious. Hypnosis can help with that.
So for someone who is listening and thinking, okay, well, I'm not a smoker and I've already quit sugar and I don't bite my nails, but I'd like to maybe dive into it for birthing. Like, what is your experience with that?
I'm so glad you've asked about this. So I was recently on a show over here called The Doctors on television speaking about this particular topic because I'm so passionate about it. So I have a 9-month baby boy, and I was trained in hypnobirthing about 3 years ago. So before I was ready to have any children myself. And when I was, realized I was pregnant, I had just moved to Florida and I found out my instructor from hypnobirthing, who's one of the top people in the company now, Vivian Keeler. She's so amazing, if not the second person behind Mickey Mongan, who's the creator of hypnobirthing. She lived 20 minutes from my new house. So she was my doula. So I had the number one person in hypnobirthing who had trained me, was going to be there with me. And it was so interesting, Melissa. I thought I was going to have truly a 10-minute birth. I thought it was going to be the most relaxing, wonderful, amazing experience. And then 40 hours later, I ended up with a emergency cesarean. So the reason why I share this is because hypnobirthing is so phenomenally powerful. And I myself have taught women who go on to have these gorgeous births that take a handful of hours. They breathe through it. There's a smile on their face the whole time. They don't report any pain. They only report pressure. And then, their baby's born, maybe even in the water. And then they have this golden hour with them. And it's this amazing, blissful experience. And I, because I taught that and was so prepared for it, thought mine would be the ultimate epitome of that. And the reason why I share my birth story now is not to say that hypnobirthing doesn't work, because it works every time. But what I want to give a perspective of is that in everything else you could use hypnosis for, whether it's increasing your confidence or increasing your ability to listen to your intuition, whatever it is, you're in control. It's your life. But when you're giving birth, it's up to the baby, and we are a vessel. I was working with a woman who the next step up for her in her career would have been global manager of sales. And she was terrified of flying, absolutely terrified, to the point where they had a team summit and she had to take a train from New York to LA to get to the summit. And the train broke down multiple times and she missed it. And she had to give a massive presentation from this little dinky motel in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of America, with choppy Wi-Fi. And she thought for sure she was going to lose her job. She came to me totally panicked. Again, saying, I don't believe in hypnosis. I think this is so weird and so woo, but I'm at the, end of my rope. I think I'm going to lose my job. I've been in the same position in my career for at least 3 years too long because I can't get promoted. My boss knows I can't fly, and I don't see how they're going to keep me on much longer. And she said, someone in her family had used hypnosis to lose 100 pounds and they had been morbidly obese. So she said, I've seen it work, but I still don't believe that it's going to work for me, but let's see what happens. So we worked together. Now, I'll give you a great statistic in just a little bit about the average number of sessions per person. For her with this, we ended up working on 8 sessions together. And she had to go to Singapore for a huge meeting for the entire company. And she was terrified. And after 8 sessions, she not only got there, she actually enjoyed her flight. And that's not always the goal. A lot of times when it comes to fears, we just want to get it to the point where it's neutral, where you're not throwing up, shaking, canceling, whatever it is, backing out of it, that you can get there and feel neutral. We don't necessarily have to tip the scale in the other direction. It's great if we can. It's not always realistic. She actually enjoyed the flight after a lifetime of terrifying fear. Within a month, she was promoted to global manager. And to this day, she sends me emails after every trip, thanking me, being like, I just went to Bali with my husband. I just went to Hong Kong for this other meeting. I just went to, all over the world. She's constantly sending me emails, thanking me. And so she's always top of mind for me because truly her career was on the brink of destruction. She was going to have to do something else and move to another company and find another role. And this was her dream job. Because the thing is, she actually loved traveling when she was there. She loved other cultures. She loved team meetings, but she just couldn't get on the plane. So that was a very cool one. It was so dramatic. And then now for the woo. So this was very bizarre and so much fun. It was very early on in my career and an attorney came to see me. And so I definitely didn't think it was going to be a woo session. And she said to me, I've had chronic pain my whole life. It's getting worse and worse. I don't have fibromyalgia. I don't have any of the normal things. I've gotten tested for everything, the Lyme disease, the et cetera, and I don't have any of that. I don't know what it is. But it's really starting to destroy my life. I have a great career. I have a great partner. But I'm becoming angrier and more resentful due to this pain. And also my stamina is decreasing. I feel like I'm going to have to go on disability pretty soon and stop working. So we went into this session, and when we do something called the affect bridge, which is where we go back to the source of the issue, the very beginning of the issue, I never say, okay, let's go back to high school, or let's go back to childhood, or I never say, where do you think the problem began? Let's go back there. I always say, let's go back to the source. Let's go back to the source of the issue. So in this particular session, the source of the issue was not in a past life, which sometimes it goes there, which is also fascinating. We could talk about that. But it went to a lifetime on another planet. So all of a sudden, this very straight-laced, very normal woman who's an attorney in New York City is sitting there across from me explaining life on another planet that's not Earth. And I am a brand new hypnotherapist sitting on the edge of my seat saying, what in God's name am I going to do with this? What is happening? So she's describing this planet where there are beings that are kind of like humans, but they have these larger heads and they're running around, moving very quickly. And then all of a sudden they slow down a little bit when they're standing right in front of you. And she said, one of them said, oh, I knew you'd be back. I knew you'd be back. Oh, you couldn't hack it on Earth. I knew you'd be back. And so we're asking these beings questions, trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. Finally, it takes us to this little, what would be like a cottage. And there's a little old, what kind of like a woman sitting there. And we finally find out that what happened was this woman is there guarding my client's soul. And she says, you had never incarnated on Earth before. You were worried you wouldn't like it. So you left your soul here. And you told me if you came back asking for it, that I couldn't give it to you. Anybody who's listening to this podcast episode, you could come back, rewind, and listen to this over and over again, just this little hypnosis session anytime you want.
All right, let's do it. I am so excited.
Me too. So the first question that I always ask everybody before you even close your eyes is to notice your starting stress levels. So 0 would be zero stress, no stress at all, the most relaxed a person can possibly be. And 10 would be a full-blown panic attack, the most stressed a person could possibly be. So Melissa, what's your starting number right now?
Maybe a 3.
Perfect. Good. So everybody else who's listening, notice your starting numbers as well. And now everyone can go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice, deep, letting go breath. Already beginning to relax both mind and body. Relax the top of your head. Relax your forehead, smoothing out any creases. Relax the tiny muscles next to your eyes. Relax your jaw, letting it hang loose and slack. Good. And as you relax your jaw, you send a message to the rest of your body that it's safe for you to relax. Relax your shoulder. Relax your arms all the way through to the fingertips. Relax your torso, breathing easily, really releasing your stomach. And relax your legs all the way out through the bottoms of the feet. Taking another nice, deep, letting go breath. Repeating silently in your mind after me. I am safe. I am calm. I choose to be here. Good. And now imagining a color you love forming at the top of your head and thinking that color to yourself now. As that color begins to pour in through the top of your head, all the way through your body, out the bottoms of your feet, down into the center of the earth. And you realize now your eyelids are so wonderfully deeply relaxed. Your eyelids are so wonderfully deeply relaxed that they just want to stay closed. No matter how hard you try to open them, they just want to stay closed. But when you're absolutely certain they just won't open, go ahead and think to yourself that color you love once more. Good. That color flowing in through the top of your head, all the way through your body, out the bottoms of your feet, down into the center of the earth. And now with each and every single decreasing number, you'll easily and effortlessly double your relaxation, repeating in your mind after me. 5. I'm going deeper and deeper. 4. I'm going deeper and deeper. 3. I'm going deeper and deeper. 2. I'm going deeper and deeper. 1. I'm going deeper and deeper. One more time, imagining that color you love flowing in through the top of your head, all the way through your body, out the bottoms of your feet. And repeating one last time, I am safe. I am calm. I choose to be here. Another nice deep letting go breath. Putting a smile on your lips, opening your eyes. And now noticing your new number on the scale. So Melissa, 0 is zero stress, no stress at all, the most relaxed a person can possibly be. What number would you say you are now?
0.
Good, beautiful.
I'd love to hear now, what's something that you're working on or would like to improve within yourself at the moment?
I love these questions because we can always get to the next level. Truthfully, the biggest thing is now that the larger and larger opportunities are coming my way, things that I haven't done before, like pitch meetings with producers. And we have an investor that's interested in coming in and becoming a partner in our company. So these huge, big things that I've never done before. When I get a little bit nervous nowadays, I'm finding that I snap at my saint of a husband.
All right, let's pretend that you have a magic wand and you could put one book in the school curriculum of every single high school around the world. Besides your book that is coming out, what is the one book that you would choose?
I would choose A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle for sure. And a close second, which is totally different, would be 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Because I think those two things combined would lead to the life I'm living right now. So if anybody in that high school wanted to be an entrepreneur with a business that made a difference on the planet and could live all over the world and travel all over the world and make a great income, I think the foundation of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle has got to be there first. And then 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss would help you give the business skills to get there.
Do you have a morning routine? And if so, can you talk us through it?
So it changed a lot with having a baby, but this is how it is now, and I love it so much. So I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I do is I spend time with the baby. So we just play. It's just me time, just me and the baby hanging out. And my husband usually starts working right away. We're business partners too. And we just play, we just have fun, we run around, it's totally carefree. And then when our nanny arrives, which we very much need to have in order to run our business together, then I start with my daily Kriya, which is a pretty long meditation, breathing process that I learned. Actually, Bernardo and I, that's where we met. We met in a meditation class at the Art of Living. So I do this long Kriya, and then I follow that with listening to hypnosis. And as much as I know my hypnosis changes lives, listening to my own voice isn't always the thing I want to do first thing in the morning. So I listen to the hypnosis that my students, the graduates of my hypnotherapy school, have created because they're amazing. So I listen to a hypnosis recording from one of my students. Then I typically go for a 1-mile run on the beach. I live right across the street from the beach in Florida. And by the time I'm done with all that, that, I am like ready, raring to go. I have a green smoothie. I sit down at my desk and I just work nonstop for hours. Then I take a little break later on the day to be with the baby again, finish working, and then evening time is all baby time. That's how I start the day.